Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Psychic Medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to this week's Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm Carrie Muggs, and this week we are going to talk about the astral plane, which includes astral travel, sleep paralysis, and night work and lucid dreaming. So this is going to be a big one. The reason why I decided to put it all together is because I had two questions this week one was about astral travel. One was about night work. So I decided to go ahead and just make a big podcast combining all of them because they all kind of combine with each other. So first off, I believe, and other mediums and other people can tell you differently, but I got to teach you what I know or what I've experienced because but I can tell you what other people have experienced or what they say too. And then you can just draw your own conclusions because that's what it's all about, is what resonates with you. So Astral Realm. Now, I believe that all the things that we're talking about, astral travel, sleep paralysis, night work, lucid dreaming, all happens in the astral realm. So what is the astral realm? A lot of people, you can get there, I call it during Tinkerbell time, when you're doing that, when you go to sleep at night and you're half asleep and half awake and you kind of see things and hear things. I kind of feel like that's when you kind of enter it. The astral realm, some people think it's that place between heaven and earth, and I do believe that too. I do believe the astral realm is it's a place of all consciousness. So when we lose control, lose our bodies, our spirits, our consciousness can go to the astral realm. I believe this is where we go right at first. I don't believe when we pass over that we stay in the astral realm. I believe that once, we realize our families are okay and things are going good, and then when we go to our life review, we go to a higher realm, a higher realm than the astral realm. And the reason why I think this is because the astral realm is awesome and great, but it also can be pretty scary. It has both good and just like Earth has good and bad people in it. The astral realm can carry both too. And I believe that I've kind of seen that once the spirit leaves the astral, I feel like when you pass over, you're very much protected in the astral realm by people who've passed over before you. And that's why I feel like there's people, when you pass over, those people are there to greet you and guide you, because I feel like they protect you in the astral realm while you're there. Because in the astral realm is when it's a little bit of a lower frequency, but you can still very much be with your family a few weeks after you pass. So during the funeral time, during the time when they're trying to get through the loss. And I'm not saying that grief time only lasts for 2 weeks. I'm just saying that's when spirits kind of figure out what's going on too. And they realize, okay, I've passed over. It's kind of a whole transition kind of thing. Then once they see their life review, they go to a higher realm, a different realm. And that's why sometimes you can feel them very strongly when they first pass over. But then like a couple, months later, you don't feel them as much. And I feel like it's because they've done the life review and they're going higher than the astral realm. Their frequency is at a higher rate. That is what I've been kind of told, and that's what I believe. But other mediums or other people that have experienced this can feel differently. So the astral realm, the reason why I tell you that mostly is because the astral realm things that I've experienced have not been great. They've been kind of scary. And I don't want you to feel like, well, my loved one passed over to the astral realm and that's a scary place. It's not. People who pass over and are in the astral realm are very much protected, very much watched over by whoever greets them or their guides. So just know that they are safe, they are good, But a lot of people call the astral realm the place between heaven and earth. So that's why I also feel like there is a higher realm than the astral realm, because I feel like, the spirits haven't really got to where they're supposed to be yet. This is just kind of a stop or a layover. Now, when you're in the astral realm, a lot of people call it like all consciousness is there. So when you do things like, and there's different planes. I'm just going to tell you right now. Right now we're going to talk about the astral plane, but there's the physical plane, the astral plane, the mental plane, the Buddhic plane. I could do a whole bunch of different podcasts just on the plane alone. But I think for right now, this astral plane is the most common people go to. Now, here's why it gets kind of confusing. Because astral travel is an out-of-body experience. Because we're going to be talking about astral travel, sleep paralysis, and lucid dreaming. Some people think that astral travel and lucid dreaming are different. Here's the difference. Astral travel is when you have an out-of-body experience. When you can actually see yourself floating above your body, or you can look down and see your body. A lot of this happens to people who have near-death experiences. A lot of people can just be asleep and all of a sudden they look and see their body and they see some kind of cord attached. The cord is always, it's kind of like the umbilical cord. It's always attached to your body. And so that's what astral travel is. Lucid dreaming is when you can control your dreams. You know you're dreaming and you can control the outcome of the dream. Like you can make things happen that you want to happen. Now, they are different, but I feel like they both happen in the astral plane. Because when you go to sleep, that's kind of when you enter the astral plane. Like, honestly, that's when we sleep, we automatically enter the astral plane. Or our body stays where it's at, but our spirits, our consciousness will go into the astral plane. So I feel like we all do this because this is where night work comes in. I feel like when we're asleep, or I've been told that when we're asleep, we go to classes, or we're taught things, or we're told things about our spiritual journey, or we kind of look at our blueprint. And that's why sometimes we wake up so exhausted, is because we've had this experience. In fact, I was actually, before I started doing mediumship work, I knew I was a medium, but I was too scared to do the mediumship work. I was going to write a book about lucid dreaming, or about this exact thing. I was going to write a book about how a girl would go into her dreams and she would be some sort of a warrior or a spiritual warrior, and she would meet other people there and train with them. And then when they would wake up, she would remember the dreams, and because she was this warrior, and she met, she could meet different people inside of the astral plane while she was sleeping. But then when she woke up, she was just a regular teenage girl. And when, dark forces started to take over the world, then she did find her romance interest on the earth plane, and they fought them on the earth plane. So I was going to write a book about that, because the astral plane just kind of really intrigued me. But I haven't had great experiences on the astral plane. So we'll just I'll kind of talk about what each one is. So astral travel, obviously, is when you leave your body. I've had a client who said she had this experience. It freaked her out, which most of the time it does. The first time you have an astral plane experience, or an out-of-body experience, it does freak you out. And it freaks you out so bad that your spirit goes right back to your body and you wake up. And she said that she told her mom, and her mom was like, well, honey, you ain't been living right. Because her mom thought it was a bad thing. So it's not always a bad thing. I've had maybe one astral out-of-body experience. It wasn't my favorite. I kind of it was scary for me. And that's the thing about the astral realm. All is fair you know how they say all is fair in love and war? All is fair in the astral realm. There are all different kind of consciousness, good and bad. So if you're in the astral realm and you don't know how to protect, you can kind of get you can run into some other lower frequencies. That's just how it is. Just like Earth, there's bad and good, and people or people with ill intentions, and just with the astral realm is the same thing. But please remember that if your loved ones are in the astral realm, passed over, they are very, very much protected. So now, if you want to have an out-of-body experience, then you can. I mean, there's lots of people that love this. They travel. They think they travel everywhere. They feel like they travel everywhere. They astral travel to people across. You know, if you have a friend across the United States or somewhere that's long distance, you can travel and visit them there. So I have lots of people who like to astral travel, and so, but they know how to do it. They've been doing it for a long time. If you would like to try this and you're a beginner, it's kind of that place where you can go during meditation. It's that Tinkerbell time that I talk about, that time when you're kind of asleep and kind of awake. There's lots of meditations out there that help you to maybe experience this out-of-body experience. And just know it will be kind of scary at first, or it'll kind of freak you out, and that's okay. Just keep practicing and keep practicing. But always, always protect. And when I say protect, pray. Ask for Archangel Michael to be with you. Ask for your guides to be with you when you do this, when you experience this. The next thing is sleep paralysis. Now, this is when you you're asleep and you can't move. You're awake. Your mind is awake, but your body is paralyzed and you can't move, and you do feel like there might be something. You can hear everything that's going on around you. And when you do wake up, you're scared and you feel kind of scared. Again, I have not had good experiences with sleep paralysis. Now, here's what I know about sleep paralysis. Lots of people think it's different things. So a lot of people think that it's that you're doing your night work or you're having an out-of-body experience and you wake up before your soul gets back into your body. And so you can't move or you can't do anything because your soul is still trying to come back, because you wake up instantly. Something wakes you up or something jars you awake. And so your spirit is out of body. Your spirit, your spirit is out of body and it's trying to come back in, and that's why you're paralyzed. Some people think that it has to do with intentions of lower frequencies that try to scare you or try to manipulate you, and so they paralyze you or they keep you paralyzed before, and then you can wake up and you can feel that. You can feel that there. My thing with sleep paralysis is I've noticed that the only time I really have sleep paralysis is when I wake up during the night around 3 or 4, which is kind of the witching hour. And this is known to say when the witching hour is kind of like when the veil is really thin and the spirits have more access, good and bad, to come through. And so I've noticed that when I wake up and I can't go back to sleep for like an hour, then when I finally go back to sleep, this is when that happens. This is when all the astral realm stuff happens. And I think it's because I'm not even sure scientifically why it happens. I just know it happens for me. And I know it happens for some of my clients. It's because that Tinkerbell time, that in between, is easier to get to and easier to access. And so this is why that Tinkerbell time is also easier for your loved ones to come through. So when you have those dreams, very, very lucid dreams, it's because you are actually in the astral realm and they have access to visit you, because that's what they can lower their frequency to meet you in the astral realm, and you can see them and hear them better. So sleep paralysis is also, now, I've only had one out-of-body experience with astral travel, and everything was fine. And it was also kind of combined with lucid dreaming. Like, I felt like I never actually saw my body there, but I knew I was out of my body. I knew I was traveling. And I ran into a spirit that didn't have the best intentions, and it woke me right up. But I did not experience sleep paralysis at that time. Now, sleep paralysis, anytime I wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and can't go back to sleep, I always ask for guidance and protection, because I just know that that's when I'm more prone to have sleep paralysis, when I go back to sleep that morning. Now, I will admit, I've had sleep paralysis that have been so scary for me that I slept on the couch through a lot of my teenage years and through some of my marriage years, because that's when I think mostly, and this is when I was trying to come into my gift and step into my power, and I was struggling with my gift, and I could have created that scariness. I hope that makes sense to you. This is where we fall into that. Are lower frequencies real, or do we create them ourselves? I've answered this question before. I can very much say that yes, I could have caused some of these, my own demons, let's say, because of the fear and the ridicule I thought I would get with having this gift. But at the same time, I know I've had at least one or two experiences where I did not create that. So I know that they do exist, and I don't care who you are, or until you have that experience, you have no clue to take away somebody else's experience, or no right to take away somebody else's experience. So the thing is, though, is I don't want to scare you about the astral realm, because it can be a beautiful place. It really, really can. I had only visited that place or been there when I was really confused about my spiritual growth and my gift. And because of that, I haven't tried to go back, or I haven't tried it again, because I just feel like I visit there every night when I sleep, and we go to these classes, this night work thing. So I just figure if I'm supposed to go there again during meditation, that I will. But I just haven't had a desire to return there, because I know that I'm more confident, I guess. And I'm not saying that if you visit there, you're not confident in who you are. So lots of people figure out their journey in the astral realm. So it's to each their own. You do what you want to do. But I do know sleep paralysis can be kind of scary. And there's different things about sleep paralysis. There's a whole bunch of science behind sleep paralysis that your mind is doing it too. But I know it's pretty spiritual, and I know that it has to do with the astral realm, and it has to do with you growing into your gift. The sleep paralysis does. And I know some of my kids have experienced, my clients have experienced it. And so that's kind of what sleep paralysis is. In the old days, they used to say that sleep paralysis was caused by an incubus, which is not a great thing. They're like little kind of gnomes or whatever. And they would paralyze you so that and this is where intimate dreams came from. So they would get into your dreams and pretend they're somebody else. And anyways, that's kind of so some people think sleep paralysis has to do with that. So you could find a whole bunch of stuff about sleep paralysis. In my experience, it's not my favorite. And I probably, if I know that it's coming, or I can feel it coming, if I wake up at 3:00 in the morning, I will use lots and lots of protection to not go there. But it's a little bit different than astral travel. And it really could just be that sleep paralysis is you were astral traveling and your mind wakes up before your body, and it kind of freaks you out. And so you're a little scared, and it has nothing to do with any kind of frequencies around you. It just has the fact that you don't know what's going on, and it scares you. And so you get freaked out. And that's as simple as it could be. So night work is, well, actually, let's talk about lucid dreams. Lucid dreams, I had a ton when I was in high school trying to figuring out my gift. And I believe lucid dreaming happens in the astral realm. I think it's part of us learning. Lucid dreaming is when you know you're dreaming. You're in a dream and you know you're dreaming, and you have all control over the dream. You can control the outcome. You can control everything in the dream. And I used to love this. I would fly. I would do all the things that I wanted to do. And I used to love lucid dreaming. I haven't done it as much anymore. But I really think that lucid dreaming has to do with night work. And night work is just that. It's when you fall asleep and you go to classes. You go to Astral Realm, and you meet with lots of different people who are also in the Astral Realm during their sleep, and you train. You train for life on Earth. You you learn about your life and your journey, and you kind of have like a daily meeting with your guides and say, okay, this is where I'm at. And this is why you can't remember it, because this is how Earth is. It's just so dense. But the great thing is sometimes you can remember your dreams, and sometimes they are vivid, and sometimes you are, I shouldn't say allowed, but sometimes you do get visits and you're allowed to remember them. And so I think it's super important before you go to bed every night that you pray and ask, have intentions for your dream and have intentions for your spiritual work, and get on your knees and say, okay, I asked that you help me to learn the things I need to, if you're going through something in your life that day and you pray that night to find answers while you're sleeping, then you probably will. And this is why I think a lot of people say that a good night's sleep will always clear your mind. It's because when you're sleeping, you meet with your spiritual team and your loved ones, and you move forward, and they give you that strength and that power to go forward. This is why dreaming, and this is why sleeping is so important. And this is why 8 hours of sleep is so important. I used to run a business where they're like, dude, I only run on 4 hours of sleep. I hardly. I'm like, that is so unhealthy. So unhealthy. You need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep or more sometimes. Your body needs to rest and rejuvenate. And so I think a lot happens when we're sleeping. And this is when all of the astral travel happens. And this is when sleep paralysis happens. And this is when lucid dreaming happens. And this is when night work happens. And I don't want to ever tell you, astral travel, I don't ever want to tell you that it's all bad and scary. Because I have to be honest, the only time I ever did it was when I was going through spiritual growth and kind of scared of what people were going to think of me. And it was kind of a hard place. There are lots of people that do astral traveling and night work and lucid dreaming, and they have super awesome experiences, and they see their past loved ones in these things. So, and now that I think about it, I did have one lucid dream, one visit from my father, when I was trying to step into my gift and figure out stuff out. And first time I tried meditation, because I had heard that if you meditate, and I kind of fell asleep a little bit, and I went into that Tinkerbell time, and I kind of woke up out of my body, walked up the stairs, and my dad was standing right there. And I was so excited to see him. And as soon as I saw him and I started asking questions, I woke up. And so that would be considered a visit because it was so vivid and so real. It would also be considered some of night work and lucid dreaming, because not only was I learning how to meditate and go into the astral realm, I was visiting with my dad. He didn't talk though, and I want to touch on that for a minute. When I first saw my dad, he didn't say anything, and I thought that was kind of weird. And I do have a lot of clients that are like, but they didn't say anything when they visited. Remember, the first couple of visits, they might not, because they're trying to figure out the frequency. They're trying to figure out how to talk to you communicate with you, because they communicate with signs and symbols. And so when they start to get that later on, when they come through again, they might say something, but the first few visits, they might not. And don't be offended by that, because they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out that frequency. So just know that that's okay. Now, that kind of night work, I do know, if you listen to a podcast called Psychic Teachers, they actually she has a whole podcast on night work, and I loved it because I always knew it existed. That's why I wanted to write that book about it. But I didn't, I kind of felt like I was crazy, or I just was seeing the wrong thing. And anyways, this is my favorite, the night work, because this is where all the other things happen, all the other things. And this is where you have your spiritual growth. This is where you might feel like it's on earth, and it is. But when you kind of, at night when you're asleep, this is where you talk it over with your team and your guides and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is kind of the astral plane in a nutshell. All of this stuff happens on the astral plane, and all of it happens when we are asleep. So I just wanted to hit on it because I have had lots of people ask about out-of-body experiences and sleep paralysis, because most of the time, sleep paralysis is pretty scary. And so just know that it might not be because there's a lower frequency. It could honestly just be because it's different. And so it kind of freaks you out. It kind of makes you scared. But here's the thing. I want you to go with your gut on all of this, on all of this. Astral travel and sleep paralysis and the whole sleep paralysis isn't, it's not my favorite. So I don't do it. I don't mess with it. I don't try and mess with it. I don't try and do it. But if you feel like it's something that you need to do, then you do it. You go ahead and, I don't feel like you could physically get hurt there. I don't feel like you could love it and enjoy every moment of it. I had a client who, her dad came and got her and they went on astral traveling, and it was an awesome experience for her. So you just do you. If it's something that you think that you're interested in, try it. Go get a guided meditation about astral traveling and just start practicing it. And try and practice lucid dreaming. Try and practice that falling asleep and just being in that Tinkerbell time where you're half awake and half asleep, and it's that you're kind of in the astral realm. Just practice it. That's all you can really do. And if it's something you're interested in, ask the guides. Ask your guides to help you figure out how to do astral traveling or to do this night working stuff, or ask if you can remember some of your night work classes. I know some people do. So do me a favor though. If you do decide to do astral traveling, please ask for protection, and please ask Archangel Michael to be with you, and ask your guides to help you and to help you get through it. So that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't really want to, I don't like to talk about negative things, but I don't think astral traveling is negative. I just think that I have had negative experiences or scary experiences with it, but that doesn't mean that that's how everybody is. Like I said, I had a visit with my dad that was very beautiful. That was probably in the astral realm too, and probably astral traveling, because I did see myself leave my body and go up the stairs. So that was a very beautiful experience for me. So just try it, see how you like it, and know that it's totally normal. And if you do have an experience where you look down and you see your body, it's you're not crazy. You're not crazy. And like all near-death experiences also do this, because they're traveling to the astral realm too. So things that are coming up for me. Christmas. So I actually am kind of going to do a Christmas podcast. I think next week, I think I'm going to kind of investigate on, now if I don't, it's because I couldn't find anything, but I think I'm going to investigate on the Christmas spirit, and I'm going to see what there is out there on the Christmas spirit and spiritually, and not just the earth part of it, but I just have had, I've always believed that there really is a Santa, spiritually, even if it's a spiritual person or a spiritual consciousness, even if, because we have been doing Christmas for so long, that we have created it, because you know how we can manifest things. And if we've created a spiritual, the spirit of Christmas, I just think that it might not very much be Santa, but it is the spirit of Christmas. I'm going to look into that this week, because next week is my birthday week. Nope, next week, the next week after that. And I think it would be super cool to do, because I love Christmas and I love the spirit of Christmas, and I love it to be uplifting and fun. So that's going to be kind of a fun one that we're going to do. I am not doing group readings right now. But in January, I'll start doing group readings again, and I will start having classes. So just watch for that. But I'm just kind of going to take December off. Not off. I'm still doing 3 readings a day. But I really overdid it this summer. And I probably have told you this before. When I got so nervous that my schedule was so backed up that I tried to add more appointments. And it really knocked me out for a little bit. I and because I had to keep up with that schedule just because I was still at that time 4 months out, and it just really got to me. And then my daughter's accident. So I'm just taking November and December kind of off for extra stuff to just hang out with my family and to rest. But when January comes, we're going to kick it into gear. We're going to do classes. We're going to do group readings and all of that kind of stuff. So watch for stuff coming up in January. I do have a Facebook group. It's called Spunky Tribe, and I will put it in the notes, in the show notes down at the bottom. So you can always go visit there and talk to like-minded people. And also too, I kind of want to grow the podcast. I think it's fun to do. I get lots of good feedback from it. So if you could subscribe or share it somehow, that would be awesome. And I know at the end of every episode I say I love you, but please know that I mean it. I know that I wouldn't be here without you guys. And I know, my spiritual journey was scary and I did it all on my own. And so I want to be there for other people to help them. But I just know sometimes I don't know the answer, because I can only teach you what I've experienced. I can teach you what other people say, but if I haven't experienced it, I really have a hard time, telling you, or I can do the research for you though. And that's what I love about these podcasts, is I can tell you my experience and also other people's experiences, and you take what you need for that. So I love you guys. Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you next week about the spirit of Christmas. So see you guys later.